بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله حق حمده والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا رب يسر ولا تعسر رب تمم بالخير رب زدني علما وفهما والحقنا بالصالحين يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا قدوس يا سلام لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My respected brothers and very respected sisters, Jazakumullah khair jaza for joining us here live as well as on the internet. We had some technical difficulty with our equipment and just new equipment arrived. So inshallah ta'ala we will start as quickly as possible. And however, within 15 minutes time or 10 minutes time, we shall have a break for Salat of Maghrib. And after Maghrib, we come back immediately and continue inshallah with our dars for the evening. We are going through the 54 fara'id as enumerated by the great Imam of the Tabi'een, Hasan al-Basri rahimahullah ta'ala. Okay. That's it, RGB. And it's not connected. All connected? Okay. And if we could get this first light turned off. Thank you. Before knowing the fara'id, it is impossible to practice our deen. Therefore, as part of our education strategy, with our youth and with our families, with everybody on the internet inshallah who is joining us, we go through the basics of our deen, the fundamentals. So our seventh fard is to consume only halal foods. How about the rest of it? People, whatever they can see inshallah ta'ala. And I think we need to turn on those air conditionings also at the same time, inshallah. We went through all of these, and the seventh fard for us is, it is fard upon every single individual Muslim to consume only halal foods and drinks. That is halal earnings included in this. So we went and looked at the ayat of the Quran about the importance and the significance of having halal food and drinks in our system. And we have also concluded that there are certain types of eating habits are fard. Some of them are wajib, some of them mustahab, and some of them are mubah. Sometimes it is fard to eat, sometimes wajib to eat, sometimes mustahab to eat, and majority of the time it is mubah to eat. And we wanted to know what is halal and haram in terms of consuming food. And we've defined what was haram and what was halal. And we looked at the various levels within themselves, halal and haram. And we looked at how a Muslim, a simple Muslim, a salih Muslim, a muttaqi Muslim, and a sadiq Muslim should deal with this abstention from harams of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We looked at the 4 levels. And in very broad terms, we said last week, everything we consume, eat and drink, in terms of our fiqh, in terms of our sharia, fall into 3 categories. Either it is mineral type, or it is a vegetable type, or vegetation type, or animal type. And last week we went and explained what the minerals were. As long as they are not harmful to us, like eating soil and soap and something else, everything is halal in that regard. But certain minerals are, although may not be clean, could be used for something else. But only clean earth is used for tayammum purposes, we went through and explained. Now the second type of thing that we consume is plants and vegetables, that is the greens, so to speak. The vegetation, the plants that grow on earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us as gifts. But again, Islam regulates what to eat, what not to eat. And there are certain very specific rules and regulations in this regard. If you do not know, you will fall into this particular trap of certain plants. In general, all forms of vegetation, plant or vegetable, fruit or flower, or herbs or spice, whatever it is, that may cause any impairment of our judgment. It changes the status of our intellect, or harm any part of our body, in general or specific, are considered to be haram. And generally divided into 3 categories. So any plant, any vegetation that is harmful to you in terms of affecting your intelligence, intellect, it impairs your judgment, or it causes some harm to your body, to your lungs, to your liver, to your skin, or your hair, anything of your body, of your general health, is regarded as haram. And Islamically, they are studied under 3 different categories under vegetation. First type is harmful to the intellect, aql. All forms of intoxicating drinks, whatever label you use, whatever name you use, whatever definition you use, anything that intoxicates you, impairs your judgment. كل مسكر خمر, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, كل مسكر haram. Little of it or small of it, it's all haram. Anything, any wine, any beer, any beverage of any kind that comes from some plant life, malt or barley, you name it, or grape, anything that intoxicates, not those items in themselves, but because of the fermentation process they go through, they change their nature, it turns into a drink of some kind, and when you consume it affects your thinking, affects your processing information properly. It is haram. All types of illicit drugs, narcotics, such as heroin and marijuana, Indian hemp, weed, LSD, tablets of any kind that impairs your judgment, ice, absolutely haram. So there is no exception to this rule. Absolutely haram. Brother, weed is okay. To you, it's okay. You come and see what I go through with families, with children who have weeds growing in their heads. You should come and see the effect it does in the long term to the people. Brother, I've been smoking weed for 20 years, nothing happened to me. Look at you. Hashish of any kind. We need to keep away from things that gives you hallucinating effects. Hallucinogenic drugs, they call it. Second type of vegetation, which leads to loss of life, fatal to life, and also categorized as absolutely haram, like certain poisonous plants, flowers, mushrooms, pink or otherwise. Whatever mushrooms and plants that you eat, you know that there are certain magnolia, some flowers, for example, the Australian flowers, beautiful, smells so nice. But if you eat, it's poisonous. You can't touch or eat. It's haram, haram, haram. Because it brings harm to your body. It can have a detrimental effect to your life and you will die. Haram. And the third category is haram to your health in general. Leads to deterioration and detrimental to your health, to your general well-being. Example, cancerous effect of smoking. Brother, I heard that smoking is not haram. Get lost. You tell me one benefit of smoking. It's a social thing. We get together outside the building and we smoke and we chat. Get lost. Don't be silly. Don't kill yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave these beautiful lungs for you to breathe, to cleanse the oxygen. You do not have any right to kill it. You go to the hospital, the people who are dying from lung cancer due to smoking for years. You go and have a look and tell me if smoking is good for you. It's a disgusting habit. Sometimes I cannot even stand. Sometimes I stand next to the people. Somebody else is leading the salat. The smell is so strong. The stench is so strong. On the day of judgment, they're going to cop it from me. You had no right to poison my air or my space. Tell me if there is any good in it. But we still smoke. How about the shisha, bro? Nargila or shisha, the same ending. You need to keep away. If you don't, okay, technically it's not haram because there is no ayah on it, there is no hadith on it, but tell me, لِغَيْرِهِ, isn't it israf? Isn't it waste? That's haram, isn't it? How about it is waste of scarce resources that you use that money that you're supposed to use on children, on your family, you spend it on their money, food money, on your cigarettes. How are you going to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? The damage it causes to your body, how can you explain that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So we need to seriously think before you open your mouth and say, is it halal, bro? When it first appeared in the world, about 200-300 years ago, even less. All of the ulama, without any exception, they gave the fatwa throughout the Muslim world as haram, haram, haram. And later generations, when they begin to get some economic gain out of this, the government through taxes, they forced so-called some ulama to change the fatwa into makruh, disliked. Whatever you classify yourself as, smoking is absolutely damaging and harmful to yourself. Yes, it's only a plant. Yes, it's only a vegetation. But what it causes to you, ask those people who've been smoking for years and you recently stopped. It's an addiction. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free this ummah from this addiction. In Australia, government knows the cost to the health system. Therefore, they pass policies in the government, in the parliament, to ban smoking in public places, in the offices, in schools, you name it. And cigarette advertising gone out the window, alhamdulillah. But you go to the third world countries, you go to Malaysia, you go to Indonesia, you go to Turkey, you go to Muslim lands. The greatest form of advertising, the most frequent form of advertising is from the tobacco producers, smokers. They are constantly smoking the ummah out of the face of this earth through smoking. An intelligent person cannot just give in to this little white stick. Yes, it's addictive. Find a cure. Go and find a treatment. Control your nafsul ammara. If you cannot overcome this little stick, how in the world are you going to overcome other desires of your nafsul ammara? Impossible. You give in to a little stick, this little white stick, men or women. Sometimes it's disgusting to see a brother with beautiful beard and beautiful white galabiya. He's got a smoke in his hand next to Kaaba at Hajj. Or a beautiful sister, muhajjiba, mashallah, sitting 5-6 of them together going, Ya Latif. Disgusting. My sister, what happened to you? You're harming yourself, you're killing yourself. And if you kill yourself as a result of this, you shall be charged with suicide also. You shall be charged with suicide. Islam forbids all forms of vegetation. Inshallah, we just stop here, go and do a Maghrib. It's Salat, Isha, the Maghrib Salat is called, and we should immediately go, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair jazak.